Right, a little bit of intel and then a big piece of intel which is designed to counteract their fun and games. So in the past fortnight, there has been another issue detected with the moon of off-world entities in alignment with on-world clowns firing frequencies again at the planet. Their equipment was destroyed and the planet has extra shielding now to counter any further attempts. Now, it has been suspected they were trying to install a new version of the Saturn Moon Matrix aligned with the Rogue AI. Well, that failed. Keep going, jackasses. So given we've heard about Event 201 and we'll hear it in greater detail in an up and coming show about that, here is another operation that these clowns have been up to, called Operation Blackout. And it was a 2019 exercise simulating sabotage of civilian infrastructure, terrorism, and psychological operations against American citizens on the day of the 2020 election, which may not take place. My words. The private US-based Israeli-founded company called Cybereason organized it with members of the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI and US Secret Service, and also the law firm Venable. Cybereason is led by ex-members of Israel's military intelligence unit called the 8200, best known for its cyber offences against other governments, and is advised by former top and current officials in both Israeli military intelligence and also our friends, not the CIA. In addition, it is funded and partnered with top US weapons manufacturer and government contractor Lockheed Martin and financial institutions with clear and direct ties to the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and the White House advisor and the President's son-in-law, yes, that man again, Jared Kushner. Cybereason's CEO Leo Div has openly admitted that he views his work at Cybereason as a continuation of his service to Israel's intelligence apparatus. The Israeli Cybereason has discreetly become a major software provider to the US government and military through its direct partnership with Lockheed Martin, which followed the defense company's decision to open an office at the Israeli military's new cyber operations hub in the Negev desert. The simulation they ran, titled Operation Blackout, was set in a fictional US swing state called Adversaria. It pitted a red team of ethical hackers and ethical hackers from Cybereason, academics and security professionals from the private sector, and they were simulating an anarchic group attempts to undermine democratic institutions and systems of government, especially by creating havoc during the election, but apparently not wanting to cancel the election. The team was led by Cybereason co-founder Jonathan Strahm Amit, a former contractor of the Israeli government agencies and a former operative of the elite military Israeli intelligence unit 8200, against a blue team of veteran law enforcement officers from the US Secret Service, the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, and the Arlington, Virginia Police. The opposing teams were supervised by a white team composed of members of Cybereason staff and Ari Schwartz, a former member of the White House National Security Council and the National Institute of Standards and Technology, who set the rules of the simulation and would ultimately decide its outcome. Now, Schwartz also used to work for the Center of Democracy and Technology Department, who is a major backer of Microsoft's Election Guard software. Oops. The Red Team implemented a, quote, a fantastic set of moves that demonstrated daring and creativity, including autonomous vehicles were leveraged to wreak havoc at polling stations and caused many deaths and injuries, unquote. How this is in any way ethical hacking is left unexplained. The Red Team also used false flag operations and psychological warfare. When the Red Team crashed autonomous buses and cars into the polling lines and also polling locations, the Red Team then makes ISIS, a group that's not without ties to the Israeli intelligence, then claim responsibility. Israel's Secret Intelligence Service. Oops, that spells ISIS. Well, I never. In addition, during the simulation, deep fakes were used by the Red Team to impersonate the superiors of pollsters and law enforcement officers and direct them to execute actions that benefited the Red Team. Deep fakes were used to create fake videos and spread misinformation about the candidates in the race, and accounts of media influencers were hacked. Telecom networks and news outlets within the fictitious states were also hacked and flooded with deep fakes aimed at spreading disinformation and panic amongst the US citizens. But, however, in a somewhat curious conclusion, which was to undermine the election but not cancel it, the primary mission of the Red Team failed due to overkill. I guess the AI has learned that the people are not going to fall for their BS anymore. So instead of undermining the election, they forced the Blue Team to cancel the election, and they caused a terrorist attack. And the exercise concluded that having clear channels of information or disinformation was very important for affecting public sentiment for both sides, including control of social media networks for journalists, influencers, and political figures that allowed the Red Team to easily spread misinformation through supposedly legitimate channels. And the exercise explicitly excluded hacking election equipment from consideration to focus instead on everything else in the electoral system. Now, Cybereason and unnamed former members of the British government and the Metropolitan Police repeated this simulation on December the 11th, 2019 in what was called Operation Blackout London, using the same fictitious UK city called Adversaria. And it said both teams performed well and deployed a number of tactics and techniques throughout Operation Blackout London. However, in the end, the Red Team wasn't able to achieve its goals, and the Blue Team scored a clear victory as they were able to maintain its goals of limiting disruptions and maintaining normalcy and open and free elections. And it said, with many excellent former government and law enforcement experts on my team, we were able to counter Red's moves and maintain public trust, according to Alessandro Talami, a senior director of Cybereason and Operation Blackout London Blue Team leader. Now, the participants in this simulation, and this is how they perfect their false flags, is Ari Swartz, Cybereason, Israel Barak, Sam Curry, Sanat Clough, Johansen Strain, Amit. All of them born too. All of them. And for those who have followed our From Russia with Love series, this type of report will come as no surprise. In fact, we could have forecasted it. And this is exactly how the clowns operate, spending vast fortunes on running sinister plots via computer simulation games that always involves terror. What's wrong with these people? Why is that country and its agency and its rich connections to it always running war and money games designed to kill or harvest the people? Why is there 3.8 billion a year plus given erroneously by the American people funding this type of skullduggery in Israel? Why can't they run scenarios for peace? Why can't they take the many of the Jewish people around the world, numbering 14 to 15 million globally, out of poverty? Because a vast majority of them are in poverty. They won't tell you that in the New York Times. Why are these non-compete companies like Lockheed Martin operating on their behalf? And for those new, Lockheed Martin and several other so-called government contractors, which generally means Langley, get their materials at 50% of cost under a 1976 non-compete agreement signed off by the American government. The light will continue to be shone on these people who are essentially running an off-world program, an old off-world program which failed in 2012. And over time, our show and narrative will be vindicated in this stance. These psychopaths have to be stopped. They may go by the name of Jewish, but these psychopaths care not for the people, whether Jewish or not. They are harvesters and not interested in humanity one iota.